I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Patek here. Today's video is SFF Spotlight episode 27. And yes, so we finally made it. This is the 1-year anniversary of SFF Spotlight. Thank you so much to all of you who keep watching SFF Spotlight. You are the one who kept this series of videos on my channel running. And in total, with the exception of this video, I have spotlighted more than 600 news on SFF Spotlight. And I think that is impressive, right? I hope this series of videos have been useful to all of you, and I will keep on doing my best to make sure that all of you are up to date with all the newest thing in adult science fiction and fantasy. So yeah, for those of you who are new to SFF Spotlight, this is a series of videos where I talk about new cover reveals, new special editions, new noteworthy release, and new book news in the adult science fiction and fantasy genre. And today we have 30 topics to talk about. Yeah, because this is the first year anniversary of SFF Spotlight, I might as well go above and beyond than usual, because usually I spotlighted about 20 news, about 20 to 25 news, but in today's video I want to spotlight 30 because, believe it or not, there are a lot of noteworthy news in adult science fiction and fantasy every week, every day really. So yeah, because we have a lot of things to talk about, let's start immediately. And the first one is about Jim Butcher's newest book have been confirmed to be released in November. This is the sequel to Aeronaut's Windlass, so this is the second book in the Cinder Spires. The title is The Olympian Affair. I haven't read this series yet, but I've heard plenty of great things about it. I've only read the Dresden Files and also the first 2 books in the Codex Alera. I definitely will give this series a shot as well. I heard many great things about Aeronaut's Windlass. I heard that this is a steampunk epic fantasy, and the sequel, the long-awaited sequel, will be released this November. And Jim Butcher has mentioned there is a new paperback edition coming for Aeronaut's Windlass this October. I think it is safe to assume that this new paperback edition will match the cover art of the second book of the series. Onwards to the second one, Dreams of the Dying by Nicolas Lietzau. For those of you who keep asking me about the audiobook edition of Dreams of the Dying, one of my favorites of Hobbies Fantasy book, so the audiobook is out now. And there are 2 editions to the audiobook. One is the one with the music, and one is the standard edition. So what's the music edition? The music edition is the audiobook enhanced with the music composed by Marvin Kopp. Marvin Kopp is the composer behind the video game Enderal, and I think he has done so many amazing soundtrack for the video game. I'm not usually an audiobook user, but I have sampled this Dreams of the Dying audiobook, the music edition, and it sounds incredible. But if you are not a fan of this kind of thing, you're not a fan of having music in your audiobook, then there is always the standard edition. And now we move on to the next section of SFF Spotlight. Before we talk about new special editions, time to talk a bit about new TV show and movie adaptations. The first one is the final season of the Witcher TV show adaptation. The trailer is out now and it will be divided into 2 parts. Honestly, my interest in this TV show adaptation has dwindled a lot since the confirmation that Henry Cavill will be replaced with Liam Hemsworth. Yeah, ever since that news, and also all of the rumors regarding why Henry Cavill's left the show, and honestly, the show hasn't been too good for me anyway. It's great so far, but not too amazing. So because of that, my interest in it has dwindled a lot, but I think I will still give the final season a try. So yeah, I am not too excited about the Witcher TV show adaptation right now, but there is one thing I'm so excited about, and it is the next news, and it is the trailer for Dune Part 2. The trailer is out now and I think it looks absolutely stunning. I think Denis Villeneuve is really the right director for Dune, and Dune Part 2 is my most anticipated movie of this year. It is slated to be released on November 2023. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, make sure to do it, or maybe you just want to jump blind into the movies, then suit yourself. But I think the trailer looks incredible and it really pumped up my excitement to watch Dune as soon as it's out. This is definitely a day one must-watch movie for me. And for the next news, this isn't actually a book to TV show adaptation, but the season 6 of Black Mirror has been confirmed out of nowhere. And this is so exciting to me. The first 3 seasons of Black Mirror remain some of the best seasons I've ever watched in television. And now the season 6 has been confirmed. I hope this will be a return to the greatness of the first 3 seasons of Black Mirror. And season 6 is slated to be released in the month of June. I will definitely watch this one as well. Love Black Mirror, and hopefully, again as I said, hopefully this one will be as good as the first 3, because season 4 and season 5, some of the episodes are weaker than usual in my opinion. And lastly, this is not a confirmation of a TV show adaptation. Do note that this is not a confirmation. Once again, it's not. But Pierce Brown recently showcased a concept art of Red Rising, a scene from Red Rising on his Instagram post. And this one, for those of you who have read Red Rising, will know what this scene means. It is a scene on Olympus in the first book, Red Rising. I don't know what this means. Maybe this is a sign that a TV show adaptation, or maybe something else, video game or anime, maybe, I have no idea. But maybe this is really a sign of an adaptation for Red Rising coming, and I will keep my fingers crossed. If that day do comes, it will be a faithful and incredible adaptation. I truly hope so, because Red Rising truly deserves a proper adaptation. And one more news before I talk about new special edition. Well, this is actually video games, but this is a trailer for a new video game by FromSoftware games. So FromSoftware recently released a new trailer for Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon. I did play an installment of Armored Core, I think on PSP a long time ago, but I cannot remember too much about it. I do like mecha in video games and anime, and also books really. I do like mecha, and based on the trailer, I think this one will be another hit from FromSoftware games, especially because they have adapted mechanics and knowledge and experience from the Dark Souls games, the Soulsborne games, and Sekiro. I am so excited about this one, especially because I am a huge fan of Soulsborne games and Elden Ring and all that. Love them so much. Hopefully The Fires of Rubicon will be an amazing video game. And now we move on to the next section of SFF Spotlight. It is time to talk about books again. And let's talk about this piece of news, and then we will talk about new special editions announced. And so the winner of SPFBO 8 self-published fantasy block of 8 that is held by Mark Lawrence has been announced, and the winner is Small Miracles by Olivia Atwater. This one received a highly positive average rating, up there with the highest in the history of SPFBO competition. Yeah, like The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang, The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French, or Economics by Zachary Pike. 8.65 average rating. So I think that is absolutely incredible. And not only that, the second and the third winner of this year SPFBO received an average rating of more than 8 as well. I think this year SPFBO has a lot of great contender for great fantasy books, but the winner, Small Miracles, is the first time in the history of SPFBO that a wholesome and cozy fantasy book win the competition, and I think that is incredible. And because of that, I think it is also time to talk about special edition, because there is a special edition for Small Miracles. There is a Kickstarter campaign for it going on right now. So if you're interested in giving yourself a try and a hardback edition of the winner of SPFBO 8, well, there is a Kickstarter campaign going on right now. And I think I haven't read this one yet, but based on the reviews that I've seen, I think this one should be suitable to those of you who love good omens and cozy fantasy books. And onward to the next special edition to talk about, and this is something super exciting. And this is, I think some of you might have known about this if you're active in the adult science fiction and fantasy community. So this is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio, the first book in the Sun Eater, the Diamond Edition. There is a Kickstarter campaign for Empire of Silence Diamond Edition going on right now. Originally, this special edition was limited to 500 copies. The Kickstarter campaign was funded in less than 2 minutes, and the entire book was sold out in 1 hour. Yeah, it is that incredible. It was so exciting seeing the success of the Empire of Silence and also the Kickstarter campaign. And this book, this Diamond Edition, features a brand new cover art by James L. Cook, interior illustrations by Taran Fiedler, a new intro, revised text, and a new novelette from the point of view of Basander Lin. There is an option for an illustrated ebook as well, and there are still 3 weeks before the end of the campaign. Now, for those of you who miss your chance at getting yourself a copy of the Diamond Edition, Dove Books have finally allowed Christopher Ruocchio to do another printing of Diamond Edition. So this adds a total of 500 copy, another 500 copy to the Diamond Edition. So in total, there will be 1,000 copies. So this is a second chance and probably your last chance of getting a copy of the Diamond Edition of Empire of Silence. So make sure to mark your calendar. This will happen on May 6, 2 p.m. Time zone is EST. I think it is safe to say once the second run is gone, then there is no more Diamond Edition for Empire of Silence. And for those of you who don't know, if you manage to get yourself a copy of Empire of Silence Diamond Edition, this will earn you the right to buy the rest of the series, the Diamond Edition of the rest of Sun Eater. There is also an option to get a slipcase. I think the slipcase will be super beautiful, but the price of the slipcase is $50 and I do not think I can afford that. But no worries, what matters most to me is the book, the Diamond Edition. And moving on to the next one, Empire of Silence is not the only book that is getting a beautiful edition treatment. So there's a Kickstarter campaign going on for Threadlight trilogy by Zack Argyle. This is the omnibus edition. I have done a reveal of this one on one of my SFF Spotlight videos. I think it was 2 episodes back, but this one has been fully funded and it's looking super beautiful, really. The entire 3 books of Threadlight trilogy will be compressed into 1 volume. It will contain spray edges, it will have Smithsonian binding, full color interior art by Randy Vargas and Omer Burak Onal. And also, that's not all. There will also be extra artworks by Rashad Alakroka and Hoang Lap, because they have smashed the stretch goals. I think the Kickstarter campaign is currently on the 6th or on the 7th stretch goal already. And I think this is really good news. The mock-up of the book so far is looking so pretty. I cannot wait to see it in person. I think it will look pretty good next to the Cosmere Leatherbound edition. The Cosmere Leatherbound edition by Brandon Sanderson and Dragon Steel. Yeah, I think this one will look really nice sitting next to them. And finally, just another reminder that the Kickstarter campaign for The King Killing Queen by Shawn Speakman is still ongoing. It is almost at the end of the Kickstarter campaign, and right now I think it's more than $200,000 funded already, but the production value for this one is immense. Even though the funding for this Kickstarter campaign is not as much as, let's say, Cradle by Will White or Ezra Haddon by Michael J. Sullivan, the production value is like multiple times, infinite times better in my opinion. And speaking of reminder, this is another reminder that of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, the Broken Binding edition, the special edition by the Broken Binding Press, is still available. I think there are only a few copies left. And a few days ago, the Broken Binding revealed the finished copy of Blood and Fire special edition, and it's looking pretty damn good. Not gonna lie, this might become the most beautiful self-published fantasy book I ever owned once it's in my possession. And like always, if you manage to get yourself a copy of Blood and Fire special edition, this means you will have the chance to get the special edition of the rest of the series in its matching numbers. Make sure to take a look at it with the cover art by Nemo Art and interior artwork by Randy Vargas and Felix Ortiz. This special edition, this beautiful self-published fantasy book, is looking pretty stunning. And the last special edition announcement to talk about today will be again from the Broken Binding. Now, this is not a confirmation from the Broken Binding, although they have pretty much confirmed it with their tweets. So first in, last out. In the year 2024, I think it is 90% confirmed that Malazan Book of the Fallen, the Broken Binding edition, will be released. Yes, I think this is super exciting news. I cannot afford the Subterranean Press edition. They are way too expensive for my blood and my wallet. They are way too expensive. I cannot afford them, but hopefully the Broken Binding edition will be great and hopefully they will be more affordable. They should be more affordable. This is a very nice move from the Broken Binding. Even just getting the hardback edition of the Malazan Book of the Fallen now is super difficult. So now we finally have the chance to get a hardback copy of Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson, one of the best epic fantasy series of all time. I am pretty sure the competition for this one will be fierce. I have no idea whether I will be able to secure a copy or not, but I will try. So that's it for the section of special edition in today's episode. And before we get to talk about new cover reveals, I would like to give a spotlight to 3 things first. And the first one, in celebration of Coronation Day, Folio Society is providing free worldwide shipping for their Kingly edition. That's 17 books, 17 Folio Society edition with free worldwide shipping. This includes A Song of Ice and Fire Folio Society edition, Partial Trilogy by Robin Hobb, and then there are plenty other great ones, great looking ones. If any of these are on your wish list, make sure to get them because, well, I think the option for a free worldwide shipping is super rare, especially for international readers. And the second one is for a pre-order bonus for the Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. So for this book, I think it is an urban fantasy, and this is a Hunger Games style story in a world that is inspired by Hong Kong, a fantasy city inspired by Hong Kong. So for this one, the UK hardcover edition, the first edition, will feature an exclusive and paper by Corey Brickley, the artist behind the cover art. And I think the end paper looks pretty good. If you pre-order from now, you are almost quite likely guaranteed to get the first edition of the Immortal Longings, and you will get the hardcover with this end paper attached. And moving on to the next one, and then we will talk about new cover reveals, and this is again for a discount. This is for a 200 pages illustrated book with more than 100 artworks, I think, if I'm not mistaken, titled Caldera. I have no idea what this book is about. I found out about it through Randy Vargas, and I think the book looks absolutely beautiful, and there are so many gorgeous artworks inside it. So I bought it because for now, I think for the entire month of May, the book will be priced at €10. That's a drop from 40 euros. So yeah, if this illustrated book sounds interesting to you, then I think this is the right time to get yourself a copy of it. And based on the previews that I've seen, I think this one will most likely look like The World of Ice and Fire by George R. Martin. Yeah, over there. Oh, hold on. Yeah, here. And now we move on to the next section of SFF Spotlight. Time to talk about cover reveals, and today I have 5 new cover reveals to spotlight. The first one is for a debut novel by a fellow book reviewer, and the title of this one is Isla's Reach by Francisca Liliana. The cover art is done by Felix Ortiz, and take a look at this. There is a wolf, there is a dragon, so I'm going to assume there is a great animal companion. And with that beautiful cover art by Felix Ortiz, it has certainly gained my interest. And also, if you are a reviewer, or maybe you are a booktuber or book blogger, and you want to get yourself an arc of this one, you want to get an advanced reading copy of Isla's Reach, then make sure to check out the link in the description down below. There is an arc form for it. I'm not sure when I will be reading this one, but I will certainly read it one day. And I'm proud of Francisca for this achievement. And the next cover reveal is for The Pale Blade by Alec Hutson. This is the first book in his new series titled The Empire of Flame and Fang. I don't know who the cover artist is. Alec Hutson hasn't revealed who the cover artist, but I'm a fan of The Raveling by Alec Hutson, the Raveling trilogy, and although I haven't read The Umbral Storm, any book by Alec Hutson, I will definitely keep them on my radar, on my TBR, and I will read them someday. But I might read The Umbral Storm first before reading this one. And moving on to the next one, this is the cover reveal to The Last Echo of the Lord of Bells by John Bierce. This is the 7th book in the successful Mage Errant series by John Bierce. And Mage Errant is, I think, a progression fantasy series, and this one will be the final book in the Mage Errant series. So now I think it is the right time for me to dive into this series. I heard that this one should be suitable to those of you who love Cradle by Will White, and I love Cradle by Will White. So fingers crossed I will love Mage Errant as much, or maybe even more than Cradle. The cover art looks incredible in my opinion. I think the artist did such an amazing job on this cover art, and also the cover art, the brand new cover art of the first book, the second book, and also I think the 5th and the 6th book. The 3rd and the 4th book of Mage Errant hasn't received a brand new cover art yet by the artist, but I think that day will come. Onward to the next one, we still have 2 more cover reveals to talk about, and then we will move on to talk about new noteworthy release. For the next one, this is for The Storming Heaven by Miles Cameron. This is the 2nd book in the Age of Bronze series, and this is the sequel to Against All Gods. I haven't read this series yet. I haven't read many books by Miles Cameron. The only one that I've attempted is The Traitor's Son Cycle, but other than that, I haven't read anything else by Miles Cameron yet. But generally, Miles Cameron's book has been received very well by fantasy readers and also historical fiction readers, and I think this series might be a combination of both into an epic fantasy series. And the last cover reveal in today's video will be for Across the Sorrow Sea by Anthony Ryan. This is the 5th book in the Seven Swords series, a series of novellas published by Subterranean Press. I have only read the first novella and I liked it. I really need to continue with the series, and the cover art is done by Didier Graffet. And not only that, there is also a cover reveal and a free book announcement for Scarlet Ziggurat, which is the prequel short story to the entire Seven Swords series. Same as the Across the Sorrow Sea, the cover art is done by Didier Graffet, and I think the cover art looks beautiful. I have bought myself for free a free short story of the book, and you should definitely do it too while it lasts. But I have no idea whether this is time sensitive or not. And now we arrive at the final section of SFF Spotlight, and it is time to talk about new noteworthy release. And because of the big quantity of today's new noteworthy release, I will have to be brief because there are 10 of them, yeah. And somehow and apparently publishers and self-published fantasy authors have decided to just release their big release in the last week of April and the first week of May. So yeah, I will get started immediately, and the first 3 books are from Orbit Books. The first one is Night Angel Nemesis, the first book in the Cahill Chronicles, which is the sequel to the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks, is out now. I still need to read the Night Angel trilogy before diving into this one. Brent Weeks has mentioned that it is okay to dive into this book without reading the Night Angel trilogy, but I do not believe that. Every time an author said that, I do not believe that. And I prefer to read in publication order, so I will have to read Night Angel trilogy first before diving into Night Angel Nemesis. But yeah, this book is out now. If you are a Night Angel trilogy fans, I think this is the right time to dive into Night Angel Nemesis. And then after that, we also have Sword Defiant, the first book in Lands of the Firstborn by Garrett Hanrahan. This book is unrelated to the Black Iron Legacy as far as I know, so this is the first book in his newest series. I look forward to reading this one as well. I believe a review copy is on its way to me right now, and I look forward to reading it. I really love The Gutter Prayer, The Shadow Saint, and also I like The Broken God, the third book in the Black Iron Legacy. Not as much as The Gutter Prayer or The Shadow Saint, but I do like the series very much. So hopefully Lands of the Firstborn will be another hit for me as well. And the last noteworthy release published by Orbit Books is Lords of Uncreation by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is the third and the final book in the Final Architecture trilogy. I believe the UK edition published by Tor UK is also out now. I have received a review copy of it, and because the series is done now, I think it's time for me to dive into the Final Architecture trilogy. I have enjoyed reading The Children of Time, The Daughters of Eden, and also The Children of Ruin, the sequel to Children of Time. I have enjoyed reading them very much, and I look forward to reading the Final Architecture trilogy most likely within this year. I heard nothing but great things about this trilogy, and many people have mentioned this is the best series by Adrian Tchaikovsky so far, and I think that says a lot considering how many books he has published. And for the last 7 noteworthy release, they are all self-published fantasy books. I have no idea why they all decided to release on this time period. Maybe they planned this. But anyway, I will get started, and the first one is for The Spire Climbers by Rob J. Hayes. This is the second book in the Titan Harper series. I did the cover reveal to this one. Shamefully haven't read this series yet. Rob J. Hayes is starting to become like Adrian Tchaikovsky with his rapid pace of releasing books, writing and releasing books so quickly before I have the time to catch up to them. I haven't read War Eternal series yet. I haven't read the Titan Harper series yet. But this one, I think, is a progression science fantasy series, and these 2 books, the 2 books out in the series so far, has been gaining many great sales and also positive reception. So if you are a fan of progression science fantasy or progression fantasy, take a look at Spire Climbers and the Titan Harper series by Rob J. Hayes. And the next noteworthy release is for another self-published fantasy book and series I heard nothing but great things about, and this is the 3rd book in the Gun Metal God series by Zamil Akhtar. The title of the book is Elder Epoch, and the book is out now. I think this is the penultimate installment in the Gun Metal God series. There is still 1 book left before the series is done. Daniel Green did a great review on the first book, The Gun Metal Gods, and I think it boosts the popularity of this book a lot, the popularity of this series a lot. I mean, it got into my radar because of his review as well, and I will have to take a look at the Gun Metal Gods someday. Probably once the series is done, I might as well wait, only 1 more book is left, and then I will just binge read the entire series. And the next noteworthy release is for The Seeds of War. This is a debut novel by João Silva, and this is the first book in the Smokesmith series, and this is a book that I did the cover reveal for. with the cover art done by Me Blood. But it seems like lately, many people have been pushing me to read Seeds of War as soon as possible. I have received a review copy of it that I forgot to mention in my last month's book haul, and I look forward to reading it. I think this one supposedly has a great magic system and also great characterization, so great character-driven fantasy is always a plus for me, and also I love a well-written magic system in my fantasy books. I cannot promise when I will get around to reading this one, but I will read it for sure someday. And moving on to the next one, this is for The First Ancestor by J.D.L. Russell. The Kickstarter campaign for this one is another success, and this is the second book in the Ranger of the Titan Wild series, a Horizon, a Zero Dawn inspired epic fantasy novel. Honestly, everything about this series sounds pretty good to me so far, and I really look forward to reading this once I'm in the right reading mood for it. I have a really good feeling I will at least enjoy reading this series, and yet this is the first book that the author sent to me. We still have 3 more noteworthy releases to spotlight, and the next one is for The Shadow Gates by L.L. McRae. This is the second book in the Dragon Spirit series. If you're active in book Twitter and also in the self-published fantasy community, there has been a lot of praises going on for this sequel. L.L. McRae is a lover of dragons in fantasy, and it's been such a long time I've heard about her, and it's kind of crazy that I haven't read anything by her yet. And I think I will start my journey with reading her books through this series, because this is the one that I keep hearing great things about, and honestly, based on the premise and also the writing that I sampled, this one sounds like it will be suitable to my reading taste. And the next one is for The Legacy of Brick and Bone by Crystal Matar, the sequel to The Legacy of the Brightwash. The second book in the Tainted Dominion series is out now, and I think it is more than 1,000 pages long. What have you done, Crystal Matar? What have you prepared in this book? I haven't read this one yet. I've read Legacy of the Brightwash recently, and I highly enjoyed that one. I did a full spoiler-free review of Legacy of the Brightwash on my channel. I highly recommend you to read Legacy of the Brightwash if you love reading character-driven grimdark fantasy with a touch of romance. Well-written romance. You know my thoughts on romance. I don't usually click with them, but for this one, I think the entire book is really good. And finally, we have arrived at the last noteworthy release and the last topic of today's video. And this is for Tears of the Liscor by Pirateaba. The ebook edition of the 3rd volume of the 5th story arc of The Wandering Inn is out now. Sorry, that's a mouthful, but it is really the case here. If you go to Amazon, Tears of the Liscor is marked as the 9th volume in The Wandering Inn, but it is actually the conclusion to the 5th story arc in the web novel version. As I constantly said, I haven't started reading The Wandering Inn yet, but this is a huge commitment, and I want to make sure I'm done with Mother of Learning and Worm by Wild Bow yet before I dive into The Wandering Inn. The cover art of the ebook edition is done by John Anthony Di Giovanni, and I think it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful and somehow so emotional. So that's it. That's the end of SFF Spotlight episode 27. Yeah, that's a lot of topics to take, right? And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for making SFF Spotlight lasting a year, and hopefully this will keep on going for many years to come. It all depends on people's demand and interest in this series of videos. As long as people loves watching it, as long as people benefit from this series of videos, I will keep it running on my channel. So yeah, I think that's it from today. I know that's a lot of topics to take in. I hope this video will be useful to you, and I will be back with another episode of SFF Spotlight before the end of the month. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.